Are we good to go, Julia?
It is pulling up here, but yes, we should be good to go.
Okay, then I'm going to get started. If you don't know me, I'm Brenda Willett. I'm the first assistant in the public defender's office. I am stepping in last minute for Rochelle Conan, who's caught up at a board meeting about the budget as we were just discussing. I'm not used to what you guys do. I have the agenda. I'm going to read through it, so this might go a little quickly. If I make any mistakes, Julia or anybody correct me. But I'll start with the approvals of the minutes from June that got sent out. Any corrections?
No.
Hearing none, the minutes will be approved. The chairman's report, financial report is May $1,948.68 was spent on personnel. In June, $1,123.09 on personnel. July, the figure was $1,778.09 personnel. The 2022 year-end total is $22,940.43. Going to old business. It says youth parents continuing to pursue the podcast opportunity with the IMSA students. And also parent equity workshop with West Aurora will take place on October 13th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Julia will distribute the flyer and Rochelle is planning on attending that event. From law enforcement, continuing to identify 3 additional game leaders. I think you guys are more familiar. I don't know what that means. Restorative practices. Completed 2 rounds of the 2-day training over the summer with West Aurora School District, working with pre-arrest diversion program through the state's attorney's office to assist with training. Expungements, there's updates being done to the packet to reflect new legislation and need to make that packet more family friendly as well. Under the category mental health, workshop met this week to begin mapping out the current initiatives. The work group discussed focusing on what within the scope of JJC and considering alternative approaches that could be taken. As I'm moving through this, if anybody has any additional information or anything else they want to say, just let me know, please. Regarding the under racial and ethnic disparities, the JJC Red Team, there's a meeting scheduled for August 17th. Drafted another survey for law enforcement to explore what diversion options are available and being used, as well as the factors being considered for arrest. Under IRJEC statewide committee, currently working on updating the annual plan to be submitted to OJJDP. Next meeting is August 24th. Next steps include refining the criteria used to prioritize which jurisdictions to try and work with in reducing racial and ethnic disparities. Sorry about that. Under the ADB work group, currently on hold until September. The CPRD data presentation. There's a question about whether or not it can be scheduled for the September meeting or to make it a separate presentation. Julia, do you know about that? Do we need to talk about that?
Yeah, it's a question for the board as far as scheduling goes with that CPRD presentation that we kind of pushed off to the fall. We can see if we can do the September meeting or we can schedule it as a separate meeting. My only hesitation with doing it as a September meeting is kind of the status of this meeting and our who was able to be present today as far as the conversation goes. So I don't know if we want to take time from a meeting to do that presentation.
Does anybody have an opinion on doing it in the September meeting or separate? Nope. Can we leave it for the September meeting, Julia, since nobody's...
It hasn't even been scheduled for the September.
Okay.
I mean, we can do it. We can do it. However, it it's not been scheduled at all. So I was just trying to get a sense of when we would like to schedule it, or if we just need to continue to table it, that's fine.
I'm going to leave that one up to you. Nobody seems to have a strong opinion on it.
Okay.
Moving on to new business, I have listed here, are there nominations for the JJC chair and nominations for the vice chair?
Rochelle's doing a great job.
That sounds like a nomination to me. How about for the vice chair?
I would like to nominate Mr. Doyen since he had the privilege of nominating me. And since he is not here, I would love to return the favor.
Boy.
You do that? Is that allowed? Can you nominate somebody who's not present?
That's why I show up to meetings, right?
Okay, what do I do about this, Julia?
Oh gosh. I mean, these are our elected offices. So, I mean, if we're taking those nominations, then it would be a vote to approve, unless there's any other nominations, right? I think that's how that went. I'm trying to
Josh,
remember.
I'd be happy to nominate you if I'm allowed to. I would nominate Josh if he's accepting
As the
vice chair.
vice chair.
Yep.
Continue as the vice chair, Josh. Oh, so there.
I thought this was an honor that we prefer to rotate around.
You can do up to 3 consecutive terms, Josh. You're only on your first term.
Oh man, what a term it's been. I'm fine with it.
All right, I'm going to call for a vote for Rochelle Conant for the JJC chair. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I think the ayes have it. And I'm going to call for a vote for Josh Axelson for the vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, the ayes have it. We now have a chair and a vice chair elected. Is that all we have to do, Julia?
I think so.
Okay. And the next part of new business, Julia is going to talk about.
So I've met with, I think, everybody. This is kind of extending from the one-on-ones there, as I shared with many of you as I was meeting with you, with the exception of some of the early on meetings. There was really a general consensus around kind of where we were at and reflecting on last year, and just kind of this agreement that we really need to realign around sort of a common goal and work toward being more tangible, by making sure that we sort of narrow in on something that is within our reach as a council, and really thinking about how we can make the council functional as an entity for all of the stakeholders who are involved here. And so in order to do that, was some discussion around some of the structural changes that might be needed to do so. And so in order to really agree, or I guess propose some of the structural changes, I guess we're proposing that we put together a work group to discuss sort of how we see this council restructuring among the board of directors, with respect to aligning with the statute itself, and as well as the goals of the Illinois Juvenile Justice Commission for councils, and sort of their commitment then to, or their responsibility with OJJDP at the federal level as well. But really this work group to come together to make a recommendation to the board about how to restructure the council so that we can accomplish our kind of common goal together. So is there anybody who would like to be a part of that work group? Or I can send out an email request and you all.
I'll be a part of that, Julia.
Thank you. And it's a short term, I forgot the big selling point. It's a short term one. So it's not gonna go throughout the year. So it'll be, I envision a couple of meetings, and the end goal in mind is like October, kind of, since that's our meeting where we're coming together, to have a proposed structure and decision by then. So when I say short, I mean short. right, so
On behalf of the judiciary, I think it would be important for us to be involved in that because I'm hoping that some of this would kind of speak towards or work towards how to help improve some of our services and so forth, or get us services. I hate to commit Judge Parga and I to a work group, but I think it's important that we be involved. So one of us will attempt to be involved in that work group.
thank you.
I can also help with that.
Thank you. All right. Sorry, Brenda,
Go ahead.
the last part of that, and just thinking ahead, and this kind of goes with the structure and how we're going to do things, but I do want to just plant a seed to put on everybody's radar that if we're thinking about planning for a conference in the spring, like we had discussed in our grant application, we may need to end up sort of having a planning group for that as well. So that I can certainly send an email out to and see if there's interest in being a part of that planning. Or if anybody's jumping at it now, please feel free.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and help. I know my office helps out with some other conferences, so probably just, helping out with like registration and name tags and all that stuff. We have experience with that, so I can definitely help out with that.
This would also be figuring out sort of the theme, or like the purpose of the conference, or like organizing or figuring out what speakers we'd like to invite to.
Okay, so
Which I know
you'd have to get this rolling probably pretty quickly if you're going to book up some good speakers.
Yep. And you and I had touched base on some speakers too before, so that would be helpful.
I'm fine being involved in that as well, as long as it's after next week.
Okay.
I agree on that. I concur.
All right. End of August. Got it.
Okay, if Julia's done, anybody have any updates that they want to share on anything else? Hearing none, move for adjournment. And the next Board of Meetings is September 8th, 2022 on Zoom. Juliet, are we done?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for everybody being here.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.